Hello, everyone, and welcome to LeeLa. I'm Lee Philbrook. It's going to be a fun show this evening. We're going to kick it off with a short background on us, your hosts, followed by an opening intention. And then we have our special guest this evening, Christine Carr, who is a holistic nutritionist, and she's going to do a discussion on immune health, followed by some questions, and then a reading, our closing intentions, and final announcements. So here we go. I'd like to introduce my co-host, Lisa English. Lisa?
Thanks so much, Lee. Welcome to LeeLa, everyone. This is a place where we hope to inspire you all to live a congruent and intentional life. It's also a place where you can have fun, explore, and play. I'm a teacher, an entrepreneur, and a content creator for small businesses where I help them navigate the digital world, whether that's via Zoom, online marketing platforms, or social media. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it back over to my co-host, Lee Philbrook. Lee?
Thanks. The mission of the LeeLa community is to transform conversations and practices into actions that make a difference. And LeeLa in Sanskrit means divine or creative play. A little bit about me. I am a Reiki master, a cranial sacral therapist, and a master practitioner of NLP and hypnotherapy. And NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, is like learning the language of the mind. It's kind of like getting the owner's manual to your mind. And I often hear the phrases, I wish things were different, or I feel stuck in the circumstances of my life. And I notice that these individuals are not able to make long-lasting changes in their life, or they just continue to express why things don't work. The tools and techniques that I employ with my clients create sustainable shifts, and they are now living their best lives. I'd now like to do our opening intention that really connects us and holds the space for the evening. So please close your eyes. May divine grace surround us, uphold us, and cherish us all. May it support our sacred trust and community. May we be strong together and our journeys be brighter and higher for having walked side by side. May we be guides for others and ourselves with clarity, tenderness, and light, feeling gentle in our minds and clear with our words, being strong in our creations and sending peace in all directions of time. With gratitude, we take this moment to arrive and join together. Open your eyes. Welcome to the room. I'd now like to pass it back to Lisa to introduce our special guest. Lisa?
Christine Carr is a registered nutritionist with the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. With her parents both being athletic and passionate about eating whole foods, she gained a curiosity and passion for health, the science of nutrition, and overall wellness. Guided by a practical and always optimistic approach, Christine helps clients improve their health, achieve their goals, and develop sustainable habits to live a healthy and balanced life. She believes in real food, real ingredients, and a clean diet. She supports clients through science-backed nutrition recommendations, one-on-one consults, personalized meal plans, group coaching, and workshops. It is now my pleasure to pass the floor over to our special guest, Christine Carr.
Hi, Lisa, and hi, everyone. Welcome welcome to this exciting presentation and discussion around immune health. I'm so excited to be offering this. It's such a hot topic right now, and I'm excited to really kind of dig into what role food has to play in all of this. It has a huge role to play in all this, of course, and we're going to get into that. I'm going to kind of just go over the agenda of the evening. So I will share my screen. Let's see. Perfect. So we are going to be covering a few topics tonight. The introduction, by the way, Lisa, was great. Thank you so much for introducing me. So what we're covering today is what the immune system is essentially. Understanding cells, understanding which cells are so important to our body when we discuss immune health. We're going to be talking about why it's so important and why the immune system really is crucial to our general well-being and to our day. Factors as well that lower the immune system and signs of low immunity are also going to be discussed. And this is so important because we hear the word immune system so much, and we really need to kind of, I think, get a good handle on factors that might actually kind of be lowering the immune system and how to actually tell if our immune systems are low, because some people have overactive immune systems and some people have underactive immune systems. So we're going to kind of dig into that as well. Diet, lifestyle, and supplement tips will all be covered, which is, I think, kind of where my role comes into all of this. I'm a nutritionist, as Lisa mentioned. And food absolutely can help with any sort of immune deficiencies that you might have. So we'll definitely cover those. And then we're going to finish it off with a Q&A. Everyone who is attending, you guys can write all your questions in the chat box in our meeting here. And if you can't stay for the whole meeting, it's a great opportunity as well for you to put your questions in, because all of this will be recorded and we'll definitely be able to answer them for you. And yeah, that's kind of it. We'll also send everyone who's attending a few of my favorite recipes and immune supportive snack ideas, as well as specific tonics. And while I'm going through the presentation, we'll definitely discuss some of the foods that will be in those recipes and why they're so important. So I'm going to throw it back to Lisa, and she's going to share with you a short video that's going to really sum up the immune system in a scientific way, understanding the cells, and then we'll kind of dig into the food of it all. I think it's such important knowledge. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Lisa, I will pass it back to you.
Our body protects it from various types of threats. These threats can come in the form of mechanical injuries, the entry of germs, or the entry of other foreign particles like dust. This personal army is called the immune system. Every day we encounter a huge number of bacteria, viruses, and other disease-causing organisms. However, we don't fall ill every other day, which is due to our immune system, an army of cells that is always roaming our body, ready to ward off any attack. The immune system can be broadly divided into two parts, innate and adaptive immunity. Innate immunity, or non-specific immunity, is the body's first natural defense to any intruder. This system doesn't care what it's killing. Its primary goal is to prevent any intruder from entering the body. And if it does enter, then the immune system neutralizes this intruder. It doesn't differentiate between one pathogen and another. The first component of this defensive system is our skin. Any organism trying to get into the body is stopped by the skin, our largest organ, which covers us. Secondly, there is the mucous lining of all our organs. The sticky, viscous fluid traps any pathogens trying to get past it. These are the two physical barriers. However, we also have chemical barriers, such as the lysozyme in the eyes or the acid in the stomach, which can kill pathogens trying to gain entry. The genitourinary tract and other places have their own normal flora or microbial community. These compete with pathogens for space and food, and therefore also act as a barrier. The next line of defense is inflammation, which is done by mast cells. These cells are constantly searching for suspicious objects in the body. When they find something, they release a signal in the form of histamine molecules. These alert the body, and blood is rushed to the problem area. This causes inflammation and also brings leukocytes, or white blood cells, which are soldiers in our body's cellular army. Once they come, all hell breaks loose. Sometimes, however, the intruder may not be a germ, but rather a harmless thing like a dust particle. The body still causes a full immune reaction to this intruder, which is how allergic reactions occur. In the fortress of our body, the leukocytes are VIPs. They have an all-access pass to the body, except, of course, to the brain and spinal cord. Our leukocytes come in many types. Those that belong to the innate system are the phagocytes. These cells can either patrol your body, like the neutrophils, or they can stay in certain places and wait for their cue. Neutrophils are the most abundant cells. They patrol the body and can therefore get to a breach site very quickly. These cellular soldiers kill the infectious cell and then die, which leads to the formation of pus. There are also the big bad wolves, or the macrophages. These cells are like hungry, ravenous monsters who simply engulf unwanted pathogens. Instead of roaming freely in our blood, they are collected in certain places. These cells can consume about 100 pathogens before they die, but they can also detect our own cells that have gone rogue, such as cancer cells, and kill them too. Beyond that, we also have the natural killer cells. These cells can efficiently detect when our own cells have gone rogue, or are infected with, say, a virus. NKCs detect a protein produced by normal cells called the major histocompatibility complex, or MHC. Basically, whenever a cell isn't normal, it stops producing this protein. The NKCs move around constantly, checking our cells for this type of deficiency. And when they find an abnormal cell, they simply bind to it, release chemicals, and destroy it. The last cells of our innate immune system are the dendritic cells. These are found in places that come in contact with the outside environment, such as the nose and lungs. They are the link between our innate and adaptive immune systems. They eat a pathogen and then carry information about it to our adaptive immune system cells. This information is produced and shared in the form of antigens. Antigens are the traces that pathogens leave behind. They are molecules found on the surface of pathogens that can be detected by our adaptive immune system for recognition. The dendritic cells pass on this information to our T cells. However, macrophages can also perform this function. Now, there is also the adaptive or acquired immune system. This system is more efficient as it can differentiate between different types of pathogens. It has two main components, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. T cells come into play when an infection has already occurred, thus bringing about the cell-mediated immune response. B cells join the fight when the pathogens have entered, but haven't yet caused any disease. This is called the humoral immune response. Some T cells take signals from the dendritic cells or macrophages, and are thus called helper T cells. They perform two key tasks, forming effector T cells, which are basically cells that cycle through the body and call in the cavalry, namely other white blood cells. Helper T cells also form memory T cells, which keep a record of this antigen for future reference. Sometimes, some cells of our body know that they have lost the battle. They have become heavily infected with pathogens, so there is no hope left for them. At this point, the immune system brings out the cytotoxic T cells. These cells rush over and perform a mercy killing for the infected and dying cell. Furthermore, we have the B cells. They produce chemicals called antibodies, which fit on the antigens of pathogens, much like how a lock and key fit together. These antibodies crowd around a pathogen and act like tags. They signal the macrophages to come and kill the marked pathogen. B cells also produce memory B cells when they encounter an antigen. The B and T memory cells jointly maintain a record of all encountered infections, and thus strengthen and solidify the body's immune response to these infections in the future. Our innate response is quicker, though non-specific. It gets into action within hours and is pretty strong. However, when things get out of hand, the innate system calls for help from the acquired immune system. This system can take days to mount a response, but the next time we encounter that pathogen, it won't make us get sick. In short, every day that we spend being healthy is all thanks to our immune system, so it definitely deserves our respect.
Perfect. if that video didn't make you feel so happy to have a functioning immune system, then I really don't know what will. The body is so complex, and there's so much research and scientific procedures happening right now to try and help us, but the body is so intelligent. It's incredible, and the immune system is kind of just the first layer to that. It really is. So yeah, let's get started, guys. I'll share my screen. Wonderful. So the video said it best. The immune system really is your personal army. Its only job is to keep you healthy and well, and it's working 24/7, 365 to make sure that you are in tip-top shape. Protects against huge amounts of daily threats, just like the video mentioned: mechanical injuries, germs, dust, viruses, disease-causing organisms. It's crazy how much it protects you from. Even things that are good for you, it's still checking them to make sure that your system recognizes it and that it's able to process in the body. The key takeaway from that video, I know there was a lot of information. There are 3 types of immunity. The first one is innate. So innate is your first response to pathogens, including physical barriers like the skin, mucosal linings of your organs. Chemical barriers as well are included in this. So lysosome that comes in the tear ducts from your eyes. Acid in your stomach, which is another layer of protection. And your urinary tract system also functions as a layer of your innate immunity. So all these places are covering anything that's coming in, making sure it's okay. And then you also have your second response of the innate immune system, and that's inflammation. This is kind of where white blood cells come in. Inflammation it gets such a bad name. Inflammation is such a bad thing. I'm inflamed. I have inflammation is actually really good. If you have a cut and the cut gets red and maybe a little bit swollen or lifted from the skin, this is a great thing. This means that your body is functioning full, your immune system is in place. If it's red, if it's scabbing, that's fantastic. So inflammation is key. If your body is not inflamed around these sites, or your nose isn't getting red and itchy when you encounter dust, that's a sign that your immune system is probably low. So inflammation really is good. It's really key to the whole immune system and the inflammatory response. Of course, different types of inflammation totally can be discussed and totally can be seen as something negative. But in terms of the immune system, inflammation is key. Those white blood cells get to the site. They block that pathogen from entering. And then if it does enter, there's this acquired immunity that you guys see here on the screen. Those are your T and B cells that were mentioned. So this immunity takes a little bit longer to develop. It stores memory of the pathogen in your cells. So again, it's completely genius that the body does this. It really takes what comes into the body and it keeps it, and it stores the information for later in case that comes again. So that's why when you go outside and you encounter pollution, you're not, well, some of us are, but most of us are not sneezing and itchy and our eyes are running just by passing a bus or just by, passing plants. So acquired is amazing. It's something that your body learns as you go. And this particular immunity is so important for children, because children have acquired immunity when they're young, and a lot of parents introduce their kids to a lot of things, dirt, they play with other kids, they're getting sick all the time. So that's all a part of acquired immunity. Helps you to be an adult that has a strong immune system as well. Even through what you're eating in your foods, any pesticides you're coming into contact with, your body is storing all of this information. It's so genius. I can't even explain. And yeah, acquired immunity can, like I said, develops from exposure or from a vaccine. So that's exactly the essence of what a vaccination is. It's putting the actual substance in your body, your immune system reacts, and then it knows to recognize it so that you don't react when it enters your system again. So just a little bit of information on how a vaccine very basically works. And then finally, there's the type of immunity that a lot of people don't know about. Passive immunity. So this is borrowed immunity, immunity we borrow from something. So another source could be like the placenta or breast milk from a mother when she's breastfeeding her baby. The child recognizes what the mother is allergic to, and the baby's body actually gets a lot of information from that so that the baby isn't having reactions to its surroundings or whatever the mother is around. So again, really, really intelligent workings of the body. And then there's immune therapy. And immune therapy is something kind of new to the science world. It's really focusing on how can we give people immunity that maybe are struggling. There's a lot of research coming out of Europe around this topic, super interesting. And yeah, it's incredible. Inflammation as well, going back to that, is that response is in white blood cells as well, or even finding cancer cells. So cancer cells in our body, cancer is known as an inflammatory disease. So when your body detects a cancer cell, it's doing exactly what the video says. It's going right to the source, it's recognizing it as something foreign, and it's killing it. So our bodies are so intelligent. We should be so thankful for them every day. I know I am. Let's continue on here. Perfect. So factors that lower the immune system, as I mentioned, we were going to be covering, just some things to keep in mind that could be lowering your immune system. So lack of sleep. Lack of sleep is anything less than 6 hours. Sleep is so important. A lot of people put off sleep. I know I did as a teenager growing up. I thought I could live off of 5 hours of sleep, but it absolutely catches up to you. Lack of sleep is where your body recovers. It's where it heals. It's where it rests. When your body is stimulated like it is during the day by food, by digestion, by TVs, sounds, it doesn't get to focus on what it needs to fix. So sleeping is so important because that's when your body gets to do that. The next thing that lowers the immune system would be the standard North American diet, which actually has an acronym of SAD, which I find really funny, because it's typically high in processed carbs, it's high in sugars, it's high in GMOs, it's high in dyes, it's high in fillers. These things, as we'll learn throughout this kind of workshop, are all things that really inhibit your immune system from functioning to the full capacity it should. Sugars specifically, all these things are unrecognizable by the body. So it's taking extra time to filter through that when it could be, supporting us or healing us or supporting us in another way, but it's taking the time to kind of digest the GMOs and separate what's good and what's bad. And it's trying to figure all this out with everything else that we do to it going on. So really the diet is key there, which we'll definitely go over. Stress. So stress, a lot of people know that stress is not great for you, but stress is something that really, really lowers the immune system. I think it's probably number one on this list. What stress does is it puts cortisol, which is a stress hormone, into your body. So it shoots it into your body, and sometimes adrenaline is there too. Most of the time it is. Cortisol and adrenaline both suppress the immune system because they just want cortisol and adrenaline are just there to help you survive. So it's the same as if you're reacting to, something chasing you. It's that stressed fight mode where your body shoots up with cortisol and adrenaline, and it can't focus on anything else. It definitely can't focus on the immune system or protecting you from pathogens. So stress really is key. We see this a lot with people who have high stress office jobs. They're getting colds all the time. Those environments typically have a lot of people who are sick. Students in particular. How many of you know a student that has, pushed through, worked those long nights, not gotten a lot of sleep, not been eating great, and then come home only to get so sick? This happens so often. It's just finally their body gets to rest and relax, and the cortisol is gone and the adrenaline is gone, and the body gets sick because it's the only time it could. The immune system is active again. It's not being suppressed by cortisol. So again, be mindful of stress if you're trying to protect your immune system. Binge drinking alcohol. So binge drinking alcohol is anything from 4 to 5 drinks in one night. I'm not talking about having a glass or 2 of wine or beer a night. I'm just talking about having 4 to 5 glasses or drinks in one night. That's classified as binge drinking. Binge drinking greatly suppresses your immune system. Having 1 drink a night doesn't. So there's a difference there. Even if you binge drink just on one night, that greatly suppresses your immune system. And interesting research is kind of showing us that having 1 drink a night is actually really supportive of the immune system. So it does the opposite of what binge drinking does. They're kind of trying to figure out if it's the alcohol content that maybe could support the body in killing pathogens, or if it's the antioxidants in some of the drinks we drink. But definitely binge drinking, if you're someone who gets sick, would be something to consider removing from your lifestyle. And then finally, refined and processed sugar. I'm not talking about cane sugar. I'm not talking about maple syrup or honey. These types of sugars are fantastic. They're natural. You can find sugars in dates that are great for you, monk fruit, but it's the sugars that are found in candy bars, in processed chocolate cookies, those kinds of things. White sugar specifically, I'm talking about. These types of sugars deplete essential vitamins like your B vitamins, your very popular vitamin C, vitamin D, and it also feeds bad bacteria in your gut, which we're going to learn a little bit more of as we go. Yeah, that's a huge one. Sugar is a huge part of the immune system. If you're trying to, improve your immune system, sugar is something to definitely be mindful of. And what types of sugar are you consuming? That's kind of it's definitely something to consider for sure. And sugar's found in everything, right? You guys know this. It's found in ketchup. It's found in everything. So just being mindful of where you're getting your sugar from, how much of it are you consuming would be super important for sure. So some signs of a low functioning immune system. This is really important because if you fall into any of these points, then you could have a low functioning immune system. Your immune system might need a little bit more support. Some signs of a low functioning immune system would be colds that linger more than 3 to 5 days. So colds, your average cold should not be more than 3 to 5 days. I'm not talking about like stomach flus or anything like that, but definitely just colds should be 3 to 5 days at max. That's definitely something to be mindful of. If your colds are lasting a week, if you have a stuffy nose for like a week after, or your throat's sore for 3 days before, and then you get sick, these are some signs that maybe your immune system isn't moving as quickly as we hope it does. Another sign of a low functioning immune system would be getting regular infections, colds, or flus. So are you picking up everything that goes around in the office? When your kid or your partner gets sick, are you getting sick right away? You can definitely see in families or in work professional settings, there are some that pick up everything. And then there are some people in the office that maybe don't get sick when the cold is going around. So I think that being mindful of that would be definitely a way to know if your immune system is low functioning. That would be key for sure. Allergies. Allergies is huge. We saw in that video, the girl's nose itched when dust went into it. That was her body saying, don't need this in my body, don't recognize it. Let's put a little bit of inflammation in the area, make her sneeze it out. It's totally intelligent. Allergies are a quick sign that your immune system is recognizing something. But if you're allergic to a lot of different things, so if you're allergic to this and that, that's a sign that maybe your immune system could need some support for sure. Eczema as well, another kind of allergy related skin issue. Itching, redness, your skin is reacting to something, an allergen, and that's your innate response. So your skin, of course, if you're seeing a lot of rashes or eczema on your skin, something to know is that your immune system could be low functioning. Finally, autoimmune diseases. This is such a hot topic right now, autoimmune diseases. We hear so many people with autoimmune diseases, it seems like everyone's being diagnosed with them. Autoimmune diseases are simply the body attacking itself. So it's starting to not recognize itself and recognize itself as a pathogen, and it tries to combat it. So it tries to fight it. It's trying to do what it knows how to do, and it's trying to protect you, but it's just doing it to itself. So the immune system is definitely not reacting the way it's supposed to in that kind of circumstance. And some common autoimmune diseases that you guys may have heard of would be Hashimoto's, irritable bowel syndrome, and MS. So definitely the body kind of turning on itself and not really knowing what to do. So at this point, usually people ask me, should I even be getting sick? Like, should I never be sick? Absolutely not. You should definitely be getting sick. Adults should be getting sick 1 to 2 times a year for about 2 to 4 days optimally, or 3 to 5 days, like I mentioned. 1 to 2 times a year is perfect. Your body is being exposed to new viruses and bacteria and diseases all the time. So if it can filter through that, react properly, and then recover, your body's memory cell, your B cells and your T cells will store that memory, and you won't get sick from the same thing. That's totally the essence of the flu shot, right? You get the shot, your body doesn't get sick, and then they have to give you another one the next year. And the viruses are always changing. So they definitely predict what is going to be an issue for the following year, and then they make the vaccine for it. And then kids should be getting sick 3 to 5 times a year for 3 to 5 days. So even more so than adults. And again, it totally makes sense. Their immune systems are weak. We're born with weak immune systems. We're getting what we can from the placenta when we're in the womb. And that's our immune system until we leave. And then we're exposed to so much. So parents, don't feel bad if your kids are getting sick. That's totally normal. 3 to 5 days is the average time they should be sick. If they're sick more than that, could be an immune system deficiency, but absolutely check with your doctor or your naturopath on that for sure. And what to do if you get sick. So when you're sick, there's definitely things you can do. Number 1 would absolutely be sleep. Like I mentioned, sleeping is when your body heals. It's when it recovers. It's when it figures out what to do, because it's not busy digesting food. It's not being stimulated by, lights or music or TV or conversations. It's just focusing on itself and what it needs to fix. So sleep as much as you can. If you're able to, sleep until your body wakes you up, not an alarm, for anyone that is able to. And that's the quickest way. That's the best way. Drinking water is fantastic as well. Over 2 liters for sure when you're sick, if you can. I know even water tastes bad when you're sick, but water is absolutely something to be drinking fluids. Reason being is pathogens exit through mucus. So whether it's blowing your nose or sweating or urinating, all these different methods are for these pathogens to kind of get out of your system. And if you're not drinking enough fluids, the fluids in these that are part of these methods are not going to be able to carry out what it needs to. So obviously fluids are such a big part of this in helping your body create the mucus to actually eliminate these pathogens. So if you're not hydrated, you can imagine that your body wouldn't be able to do that as efficiently or as effectively or as quickly. So zinc is, I'm not sure if you guys have all heard about zinc, but zinc is a mineral and you can use it in a supplement form, and you can also find it in foods, which we'll look at a little bit later. But it can absolutely reduce the duration of a cold. So if you're someone that finds that when you get sick, you're sick for a long time or your colds are lingering, absolutely consider supplementing with zinc as a way to kind of help you and your body do its job. Definitely, if you're on medications right now, please ask your physician first about zinc. Definitely, it's a mineral, so it can sometimes interact with medications, but you can definitely get it from foods at lower doses as well. If you're sick, honey is great. A spoonful of natural honey. We have great honey here in Canada. We have so many bee farms. You can absolutely find honey. You can have it straight up, or you can have it in a turmeric lemon tea too, kind of like you see in the picture there on the right. And I'll send you all a recipe for a great turmeric tea. It's called Golden Milk. It's fantastic. It's a delicious drink, and it's great to have as well in your fridge, ready to go, even if you're not sick. But honey's fantastic. It's really immune supportive. It's actually so immune supportive that they don't recommend it to kids under a year old because it's so immune stimulating. It's fantastic. But again, not for kids or babies under a year old. Garlic. Have it by the clove if you're brave enough. Garlic is a fantastic food to consume when you're sick. And I'll go into a little bit of the details of that, but it's incredible. You can also add it to a soup. You can bake it if you're a little bit worried about the taste of eating it straight up in a clove. It's fantastic baked. You can add it to sauces or pestos, or you can put it on toast if your appetite is so not there, which absolutely happens when you're sick. And finally, an Epsom salt eucalyptus bath. So a lot of us have used Vicks before. Vicks uses eucalyptus, which is a plant that you find in a lot of warm countries. But go to the source. Go find eucalyptus in an essential oil. You can find it in a lot of home stores or beauty stores, natural wellness stores. And you can put it right in a salt bath and it'll be absorbed by the skin that way. You can also dilute it in coconut oil and use it directly on your chest. So a few drops of eucalyptus right into coconut oil, right in your hands, on your chest, on your throat, will really help open up your airways and help you breathe a little bit better. Of course, oxygen is so important. So making sure you're breathing really well would be really important as well. And eucalyptus is fantastic. You can use it in a diffuser. You can use it really anywhere. So I would definitely recommend looking into eucalyptus for if you're already sick. Okay, let's see. Diet. So this is kind of what I do is I talk about the diet. I'm going to go over a few foods, more so vitamins that are fantastic for the diet when you're considering having a strong immune system. Number one would be vitamin D. Most people think number one is vitamin C, which is pretty confusing. Vitamin D is the sunshine vitamin. So 70%, guys, of Canadians are deficient in vitamin D, and vitamin D is so important to the immune system. The reason being, you probably already know, we don't see enough of the sun here. We spend 6 months mostly indoors with little access to sunshine. Vitamin D modulates that innate and acquired immune response. So it really controls when those cells go out for those responses. So totally important in immune health. It protects against winter blues as well. So SAD, another sad acronym, is seasonal affective disorder. A lot of people struggle with this. A lot of people that get really depressed or sad during the winter months are found to be low in vitamin D. It's so interesting. And vitamin D is one of those vitamins that is a little bit difficult to get from food because it's not in a lot of food. You can see here, it's in sardines, salmon, mushrooms, and eggs. And how often are we eating those every day? So vitamin D is definitely so important to the immune system. The way to get it from the sun would be 20 minutes of sun on unprotected skin. So no SPF, which sounds scary for people who might be really pale, but 20 minutes usually isn't enough to be burned, especially if we're looking at having the sun hit your arms or your stomach where it's best absorbed. Reason being because a lot of the immune system actually sits in the digestive system, which we'll go over a little bit later. But if it's not possible and you burn in 5 minutes, then a little bit of light SPF, maybe up to 15 would be fantastic. But really having the sunshine hit your skin, be absorbed by the body is key here with this vitamin. And then we'll definitely go over some ways where you can get vitamin D without seeing the sun, because we are so fortunate here in Canada to not see the sun. Okay, let's continue. Fermented foods. Fermented foods are another thing that are so important to the diet when we talk about immune system. It promotes good gut bacteria. So that would be probiotics. We hear that word so much as well. 70% of the immune system lives in the gut, guys. That's huge. A lot of people think the immune system has something to do with the nose or the mouth, and it totally does. But it lives in the gut. That's where it waits and that's where it's produced. So of course, having good digestion would definitely affect how your immune system works. Fermented food can look like anything from kombucha, which is a kind of tonic type fermented tea. It's fantastic. It's so popular right now. Most of you have probably seen it in grocery stores. It's a great drink. It's almost like a type of sparkling water, but typically they have really good flavors. And they're great mixers as well. If you are having a beverage or cocktail over the holidays, consider making it with kombucha, which sounds like the opposite of what we're trying to do here, but kombucha is fantastic. It promotes good gut bacteria. Tofu and tempeh, these would be typically sources that a lot of the vegetarians and vegans here would know. They're soy-based products, 100% soy-based. When it comes to soy, just a side note, soy is a GMO. So it's a commonly genetically modified object. So this is one of the foods that I recommend people do look for organic. There's typically always organic tofu. It might be like $1 more, but it's worth it if you're consuming a lot of it, especially. Tofu is great, and tempeh is great. They're both fermented. They come in kind of blocks, and they're great. They absorb flavor of sauces, in curries. They're fantastic in stir fries. They really absorb the flavor, and they're great sources of protein as well, which we'll definitely get into. Another great source of a fermented food would be kimchi. So often found in Korean cuisine, kimchi is fermented cabbage and sometimes lettuce and broccoli, assortment of vegetables, but usually cabbage. They flavor it with spice, but it sits and ferments for a good amount of time. And that creates this good bacteria that feeds the probiotics in our body. So it gives our body this high dose of good bacteria, which really help to balance out the bad bacteria, because that balance is so important to general digestion, and in particular to tonight, immune health. And finally, yogurt, a popular one that you all know for sure. Yogurt has great bacteria in it. It's good bacteria, of course. And there are so many different types of yogurt now. If you're a vegan, there's coconut yogurt, there's soy-based yogurts, and then there's just good old-fashioned Greek yogurt. That's fantastic as well. Great source of fat, good gut bacteria, promoting as well. And yeah, so these are some of the foods that are fermented and fantastic for your gut, which, like I said, 70% of the immune system, guys, lives in the gut. So really important that your gut is working, functioning, your digestion is good, all really important to immune health. So finally, vitamin C, which a lot of people already know about. Vitamin C actually stimulates white blood cells, which are those cancer detecting, pathogen detecting cells. They really, really work to find the pathogen and attack it. It protects us also from the damaging effects of stress. So it's really interesting. In studies done on animals and on humans, they're finding that animals that are stressed or humans that are stressed are all deficient and almost depleted completely in vitamin C. So if you're someone who's stressed, then definitely keep in mind that vitamin C foods would be really important for you. Sources of vitamin C, some people think it's citrus, that's the highest, but it's actually broccoli, peppers, spinach, and winter squash, surprisingly. So these foods are really, really high in vitamin C. Citrus, of course, falls in there, dark berries, leafy greens, all sources of vitamin C as well, but broccoli, peppers, and spinach definitely be really high on that list. Yeah, vitamin C is always our go-to when we think of the immune system, but definitely vitamin D, vitamin C is close. And then zinc, we kind of touched on zinc earlier when talking about, supplementing for if you have a cold, take zinc right away. That's because it's crucial for the normal development and the normal function of immune cells. So for those immune cells to work and to actually be functioning, we need zinc. So if you don't have enough zinc, you can imagine that, you know, your colds would last longer, or you'd have a runny nose all week, or it would, you know, your throat would always be sore. Sources of zinc: oysters, crab, and lobster. These are my favorites. Red meat as well, poultry, and then beans and nuts for the vegans or vegetarians are great sources of zinc. Brazil nuts are incredible. They're those big nuts that you can find. They're so high in zinc, Brazil nuts, that you're only meant to take 3 to 5 a day. So incredible sources of zinc, all available. And they're great. They all taste great too. And then protein. So protein, something that not a lot of people think of when they think about the immune system. Why would protein be important is usually the question. Protein is important because it makes up the antibodies that fight off the infection. So it's the physical compound of where those T and B cells would go into, and that's where it travels. So protein is the physical cell. It makes up that cell. It's the same as muscles. Protein really helps to grow the muscles. So when we have protein, we're able to fight off this infection quickly because the cells are there. The antibodies are ready to go. Great sources of protein would be eggs, fish, and chicken. Again, for the vegans, vegetarians, or plant-based, it's chickpeas, lentils, beans, nuts, seeds. Tempeh and tofu, which I mentioned, are great sources of protein, some of the highest for vegans and vegetarians. And protein powder. Protein powder is something that not a lot of people consider, but you don't have to be a bodybuilder to eat protein powder or to have protein powder. Protein powder, as long as it is sourced well and it doesn't have all the additives or the chemicals in it, you can absolutely consider adding protein powder to your morning smoothie, to your oatmeal. It's fantastic. It's a quick way to have more protein in your diet. A lot of people don't have enough. They think that they have enough, but a lot of people don't have enough protein in their diet. Side note, quick way to know if you're not getting enough protein is if you're someone who's never full and you find you're snacking 24/7, protein could be the issue. So just a side note about protein. So important. So important. So supplements. This is probably such a big question for a lot of people. I think supplements are great. Supplements are a fantastic way to add more of something into your diet. But I never want supplements to be the replacement for something. Supplements are exactly that, to supplement, not to replace. And a side note about supplements in the United States are not regulated. So please, when you buy your supplements, please consider buying from a Canadian brand. First of all, it's great to support Canadian companies. And second of all, it's regulated. This industry, the supplement industry, is totally regulated here in Canada. Every supplement you buy in Canada will have an NPN number. That's a natural product number. And that'll tell you that it's been certified, it's been checked, and that what's in it is actually what's in it. In United States supplements, you don't have to add in what is in the supplement. So that's that's kind of a red flag there. But Canada really does regulate the industry, so that's fantastic. And then 3 supplements that I would totally recommend: vitamin D. As I mentioned, 40 to 70% of Canadians are deficient, so vitamin D in a D3 form would be great. Probiotics as well. They support good bacteria, like we were talking about, that good gut bacteria. Going back to even vitamin D, best consumed in oil. Oil is absorbed the quickest by the body, and it's also, it's that mood lift as well for people that aren't seeing the sun all the time. Vitamin D works so efficiently. That would be my number one. If you live in Canada, please supplement with a vitamin D. Probiotic, like I mentioned, good bacteria, and then multivitamin and a vitamin C. Again, you should be getting all your vitamins from a generally whole foods diet. If your diet is varied and you are having a lot of vegetables, then please consider your diet before supplementing with multivitamin and vitamin C. That might just be extra or not necessary. but yeah, you should be getting enough vitamin C and vitamins in general from your foods. And if not, then consider supplementing. So that's where the vitamin D and the probiotic come in. And then a few of nature's antivirals and antibacterials. So nature have their own antivirals and antibacterials that we don't know about. Oregano being number one, you can get oregano oil and add it to water, or, which is very strong, by the way, or you can add it to foods. You can get fresh oregano. You can diffuse oregano oil as well. So really just kind of considering adding more oregano to your diet. Garlic as well. Garlic is anti-inflammatory in general, but really, really supports the immune system as well. Honey, like I mentioned, is fantastic. Turmeric is really good, high in vitamins. Use it in a curry. All these ingredients would honestly make a great curry. Maybe not the honey, but all of the ingredients would. So curries are fantastic ways to support your immune system. And then echinacea, which is a plant. So you can find this in a tea or in a tonic where you can take like a spoonful. Those are all natural antivirals and antibacterials to consider adding to your diet. Ginger is another one that's fantastic. I know a lot of people know about ginger, but that's fantastic. And then a few lifestyle habits. Sleep to fight infection. So as I mentioned, guys, get enough sleep. Make sure you're prioritizing sleeping, especially in the winter. Wash your hands. That's something we hear all the time, but that will definitely help prevent bacteria. But we don't want to prevent too much bacteria from not coming into contact with us, because then we don't build an immunity. It's exactly why parents bring their kids to parks and to play outside and, you know, to play in the dirt and with other kids, because it gives them an immunity. It gives them a good immune system and a strong foundation. So managing stress as well, like I mentioned, reduce your cortisol levels. Cortisol is an immune system inhibitor. So please manage stress, find ways, whether that's taking time for yourself, having a bath, meditating, reading, also important, and being happy, really focusing on reducing those cortisol levels and increasing those happy hormones. So serotonin, all these hormones that are happy hormones, really do help the immune system support at full function. And finally, dry brushing, which you see here in the picture. Dry brushing stimulates the lymphatic system. So once the immune system picks up on pathogens, it's going to go and travel to the lymphatic system, which is where it's removed from. Lymph nodes are in your you can find them here in your underarms, which is why we sweat. So that's one way to remove some of the pathogens and bacteria. And then through our nose as well, here in the mucosal linings as well here, you can find lymph nodes, which is why the doctor will always feel you here when you're sick to see if these are swollen and if these are reacting to something. So dry brushing helps stimulate the lymphatic system, which runs in the opposite direction of gravity. So it really is a good help to stimulate the lymphatic system that way. And I believe that's our presentation. That's our workshop. I'm so happy to share all this with you. We kind of covered the immune system. We covered what it is. We covered the specific foods, supplements to take, a few lifestyle ideas as well. And I hope you have found it insightful. I'm going to pass it back to Lisa, who's going to ask a few questions. And of course, you can keep up with me on Instagram or on an email as well. So I'll pass that back to Lisa.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Christine. That was so insightful. I learned so much. We've had some great discussion in the chat here going on too. So we've got a couple of questions already for you. So like Christine said, it is our time for questions now. If you do have any questions for her, you can put them in the chat box and I'm going to read them out to her. So Christine, the first one is from George. And he was just saying, when you're talking about the vitamins, what about vitamin B? Any recommendations or knowledge behind vitamin B?
Absolutely. So vitamin B is something that you find in your typical fruits and vegetables. They all have, to some level, vitamin B. Vitamin B kind of works in a family. You have your B12s, your B2, your B6. So they really do need to be eaten together, but nature does that for you. In spinach, you'll find kind of all the vitamins, vitamin B, all the vitamins in the B family. And vitamin B is another one of those vitamins that is depleted when we have processed sugar. So another thing to keep in mind, a lot of these vitamins that are getting into your body, are they staying and are they being used, or is our diet kind of inhibiting them from working to the full function they're supposed to? So vitamin B is fantastic as well. Sweet potato is a great source. All your fruits and vegetables, like I said, will have some level of vitamin B. And as well, for people that are, vitamin B depleted, if you're a smoker, if you're on the birth control pill, absolutely consider supplementing with vitamin B. These are things that do deplete the B vitamin. So yeah, definitely certain circumstances to be supplemented, but definitely you can get it through food for the most part.
Awesome. And we have another great question from Jill. She said, is there a best time of day to take 1, a probiotic? She went ? Night. 2, a multivitamin, and an extra vitamin D. That's what, yeah. In the morning, she said ? So when is the best time to take these vitamins?
Okay, perfect. So vitamin D, best to take in the morning because of that serotonin boost and that happy hormone that the sunshine vitamin brings. I would recommend taking it in the morning because then you get the effects of the mood changes throughout the day. You'll feel the way your emotions change as well with this vitamin. It's so powerful. In terms of probiotic, like the biotic part of the word, consider it like an antibiotic. You do have to take it at the same time every day for it to work. If you're taking it at noon one day and then evening the other day, it won't work. So take it whenever you want for the probiotic, just make sure you're taking it at the same time. And then for the multivitamin, you can also take this anytime, like I said, preferably in the morning, because then you get the effects of the energy that it's going to give you. But a multivitamin is absolutely something to consider taking if you think that your diet isn't rich in vitamins enough. So if you're not eating a whole foods diet, then definitely supplement with the multivitamin, but consider it again if you should be supplementing if your diet's rich in vitamins.
Awesome. Some great tips there. And we've got a couple questions here from Annie. First of all, she said, love that she touched on kids' immunity and how as parents we can help support the development of their immunities too. So some nice feedback there. And her question is, I know she touched on vitamin D being more essential for immunity. Does that mean those vitamin C immunity powder packs are essentially useless, or is there any value to them? That's her first question.
It's a good question. Those are fantastic. Again, your digestion and the immune system are so important. So taking it in a powder is fantastic as well. But if you're someone who's eating, like I said, again, a whole foods diet, a lot of plants, a lot of fruits, nuts, seeds, then vitamin C is something that you shouldn't really be supplementing with, again, unless you're someone who's stressed. So vitamin C is depleted when you're stressed. So new moms are often stressed. Students are often stressed, high stress jobs as well. So definitely consider supplementing with vitamin C if you are someone who is a little bit more stressed. Business owners, same thing. And the powder is fine. The powder is fantastic. Just again, double check where your powder is coming from. So the supplement industry here in Canada is regulated, and then in the United States, it's not. So just make sure you kind of know where you're getting your supplements from is really important.
Great tip. Okay, and she has another question here. I know nutrients in today's agriculture are depleted. Does buying organic make a difference? Is frozen veggies still providing enough immunity support? So 2 questions there.
Good question. So definitely frozen fruits are fantastic. They're great because they're shock frozen. So they're frozen as soon as they're fully ripe, which is great because sometimes by the time we buy vegetables, get them home or fruit and actually eat it, a lot of the vitamins are kind of depleted. So when we freeze them, it's a fantastic way to have your fruit. It's more economical as well because then you're not running through fruit. So I would really consider buying fruit frozen, especially if you're using a lot of it. Certain fruits that are in season, please buy them locally. Please buy them, at the grocery store because they're in season. But for things like berries or things that, we wouldn't really get in the winter, definitely buy them frozen because they've already been shock frozen from another country where they're in full nutrient form. And then for the question on organic, absolutely. It depends on what you're eating. Pick and choose. Like, a lot of us can't afford to buy foods organic 24/7. It's not really sustainable, and it's really stressful to grocery shop and be like checking every single thing. So take a look at your diet, see what you're eating a lot of, and see where can I make connections here and get those products organic. Like I said, consider what what GMOs are. Soy is a highly genetically modified object. So if you're having a lot of soy, consider getting this organic. And that's probably what I would say about that. So if you're having soy milk in your coffee, and then you're having tofu, and then, your products have soy in it, or your supplements have a soy in it, maybe look at where you can kind of buy that organic. And like I said, it doesn't really cost a lot more with the soy products. So definitely consider it if you're consuming a lot of it.
Awesome. And we've got a question here from Esther. She says, does blending or juicing fruit take away from any of the vitamins that will help the immune system? Great question.
Yeah. Blending and juicing are two totally different things. So when you blend or you make a smoothie, the fibers are still in it. And when you juice, the fibers are removed. So the pulp is removed when you juice. A lot of you will see that when you get a juice that's cold or fresh pressed, all the pulp goes to one side, and all the vitamins in the juice of the actual vegetables, which carries the vitamins and the minerals, goes to one side. So they serve different purposes. If it's breakfast, absolutely have that smoothie, get that fiber. It's going to help your digestive system. It's going to support you that way. But if you are just looking for the extra dose of vitamins or energy in the middle of your afternoon, then definitely have a juice. Juice is fantastic. It's a great way to get more vitamins into your body and to really support your immune system.
Lovely. Amy's feedback here is amazing answer, very informative and realistic. Thank you for simplifying nutrition. I definitely agree with that. You're doing an awesome job, Christine.
Thank you so much.
And we do have a question for you from the LeeLa gals that we think that would be important for everyone to hear. Can you just discuss a little bit about sugar and your immune system, the different types of sugars and how they affect the immune system?
Absolutely. So sugar, again, depletes essential vitamins like that B vitamin that we got the question on. Vitamin C as well. A lot of other vitamins are depleted by sugar. And again, I'm not talking about dates or maple syrup or honey. I'm talking about white processed artificial sugar, essentially. It's definitely not natural. So these sugars deplete these vitamins, and these vitamins really support the immune system and have your immune system functioning in tip-top shape. So that would be the connection there. If you're eating a lot of white sugar, consider where can you make some changes? Where can you, supplement, a spoonful of sugar in your smoothie for a date instead? Or where can you put, a teaspoon of white sugar in your coffee? How can you change that to maybe cane sugar or brown sugar or raw sugar, or monk fruit if you're a little bit more interested in the nutrition kind of like sugar world? Monk fruit is an option as well. So yeah, sugar definitely has a huge effect on a lot of things, but the immune system, it definitely suppresses by way of reducing the vitamins that your body actually gets to use.
Great answer. And Lee has a question as well. This is a hot topic. I know it's been going around with the medical medium. What do you think about celery juice?
Celery juice is honestly totally what you make it. Celery juice it's celery, right? It's a vegetable. It's fantastic for you. If you're going to do a celery juice cleanse, it's not something that you would replace your breakfast, lunch, or dinners with. In my opinion, I don't find doing that completely healthy, because then you're not getting a lot of the nutrients that support your body through the foods that you're supposed to be eating, those whole foods that come from the earth. But of course, it's celery. Like, if it comes from the earth, it's good for you. You can eat it. Do consider it though if you find your digestion is really off, if you have bad skin as well. It really supports your liver, and it helps your liver function quickly, which really supports your skin. So the skin and the liver are very connected. So if you struggle with digestion, or skin, or you find your energy is really low as well, consider trying celery juice. But the way it would work is you would add it to your mornings, and it would be the first thing, as Anthony Williams mentions, you have it first in the morning before anything, before water, and you have it pure. You remove the fiber from it so that it digests quicker, and then you drink it for 5 to 7 days. And some people drink it every day, but that would be like the cleanse would be the 5 to 7 days. But again, not necessary. If you're getting all your vitamins and minerals from food, then you should be good.
Awesome. I know a lot of people probably appreciated that one. My mom's on the call and she loves her celery juice. So
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really great.
awesome. Okay, and before we move on, Christine, I want you to fill in the blank for us here. Immune health is blank. Immune health is
amazing. I mean, even just in that video alone that we watched, it's crazy. Your body is 24/7, working to keep you alive, to keep you well, to protect you from everything that's going on around you. I mean, the mass pollution, the environment, it's protecting you from everything, and it's working so hard. So let's do what we can to support it. Let's give it its best chance when it gets into contact with a cold or a flu. Of course we're going to get sick, but let's just give our bodies the best chance we can at fighting it and support it, because they really do so much for us. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Great discussion today. I really enjoyed the Q&A, and for all the information you've passed on to us. Thank you, Christine. It is now time for our reading of the evening. So over to you, Lee.
Thanks so much, Christine. What an incredible conversation this evening, and so timely at this moment in time for all of us to be as healthy as possible. I'm feeling like my immune system is a little low, so this was all beautiful reminders of get some really good sleep and drink lots of water, and I'll probably be fine, and maybe make a turmeric tea. So now I'd like to read a piece that's actually been chosen by Christine. And for those of you that like to follow along at home, Lisa's going to put the words up on the screen. And the author for this piece is unknown. And Lisa's about to put it up. And I think it's perfectly perfect for this moment in time. Have you ever realized how much your body loves you? It's always trying to keep you alive. It is 24/7, 365, doing everything it can for you to thrive. It's making sure you breathe while you sleep, stopping cuts from bleeding, fixing broken bones, finding ways to beat the illnesses that you may get. Your body literally loves you so much. It's time to start loving it back. So thank you. And we're going to just do our closing intention now. So if you please shut your eyes. As we close our time together with gratitude to all, we pause to offer each other love and kindness. May our understanding of love be expanded by what we have shared as we open ourselves to growth. May we rest in trust and surrender ourselves and our path to divine grace, asking that this time together be protected, corrected, and held high. May we now see through love's eyes and understand beyond words. May we all be safe, happy, and healthy. May we all rest in full joy and know that there is no distance between friends in time or space. Divine strength and peace surround us until we meet again. Open your eyes, and now over to Lisa for our final announcements. Lisa?
Thanks so much again, Christine, for the wonderful session tonight. We learned what the immune system is, why it's important, and factors that lower the immune system. We also discussed diet, supplement, and lifestyle tips to boost immunity. In the highlights email that we're going to be sending in the next day or two, we will be sharing Christine's recipes to support your immune system. Christine will also be offering free 30-minute discovery call for anyone who's interested. So you have to use the LeeLa promo code for that, and you can contact her directly. Our next LeeLa event is Wednesday, December 16th, and that will be with Danielle Chevalier. She's the owner of AxeFit, Urban Surf Company, and Sketch Art Workshop. Danielle will guide us in a meditation and then lead us through an exercise in visual journaling using sketching, doodles, words, and shapes. You can register online for that. And until next time, everyone, be well, aloha, and good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.